over here says 34, so I know, now I know, it's a minute back. So we'll start with the roll call, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, and followed by consent agenda.
Chairman Desilme,
Here?
Board Member Timothy,
Here.
Board Member Charles,
Present.
Vice Chair Estimate Irvin, Board Member Galvin.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you so much. We'll do the pledge, and then we'll start the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Consent agenda.
Unless a member of the CRA Board wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda, tabs A through B constitute the consent agenda and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through B be adopted.
Thank you. Can I hear a motion for
So
consent?
move.
Second.
I have a
Wait, I have a question, I'm sorry. I see what is the commercial beautification packet? Is that the guideline? Or this is sneaker box? What is that, part of the consent?
It's
yeah, effective.
grant request for 25,000, a beautification request from Snicker Box located on Northwest 7th Avenue.
Okay. Madam, I don't have any problem with the item. I just wanted to know procedurally, are we putting things under the agenda that's less than amount, like we do with the city, or is that you, Mr. Attorney? How?
So routinely for the commercial beautification grants, because there were $25,000, they've
Okay.
always appeared under the consent agenda.
Okay.
The grant amounts that are over the
Got
spending
it.
authority are the ones
That's
that will
what I
come
wanted to know.
in the
Okay.
regular agenda.
Okay, thank you. This
Hold
was-
on. Sorry, for clarification, so moving forward, they'll be on consent, you're saying, or they
They
won't come
always
to-
have
They
been.
always have been
All the
saying-
beautification grants for, which are $30,000 and less now, are always going to appear on the
Okay.
consent agenda the way they always have.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Chairman, as of 5:35 p.m., Vice Chair Estimate Irvin is now present. I have a motion made by Board Member Charles to approve the consent agenda, tabs A through B. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. Item agenda 1.
Agenda item 1, resolution approving recess authority. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the executive director, the North Miami CRA secretary, and the North Miami CRA attorney to take all necessary action and to execute all documents relating to the operations of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency during the board's recess commencing December 12, 2023 through January 22nd, 2024, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Agenda item 1.
Thank you. May I hear a move?
Question? I'm
moved.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. We got to
Would
open
it-
it to the, go ahead.
Oh.
Mhm. Oh, you want to?
I just have one question. 'Cause I
Okay.
know it's to the 22nd.
Let me close it. Give me 1 second. I think I know your question. A public hearing is open on item 1. Seeing none coming, public hearing is closed. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
No, I realize it's until the 22nd, but our next board meeting is not until the 12th. So shouldn't recess go to
Yeah.
February 11th?
The CRA.
Since you are on, there would not be another meeting that would have been scheduled until February 12th. So you're off recess, but your next following meeting is still February 12th. It's not affected
So
by
wait,
that.
so the recess is going until January 12th or
January
February
22nd.
22nd.
Oh, okay, 22nd.
And the
yeah.
regularly scheduled meeting after that is February 12th,
Oh, okay.
outside of the recess.
Okay. Any questions? Do you want to move the dates or are you okay?
No, I'm okay. I
Um,
just
you
thought
good?
that it was until 11th.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Vice Chair Estimate Irvin to approve the item at agenda item 1. The motion was seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Item 2.
Agenda item 2, resolution to approve engagement with Bryant Miller Olive for legal services related to debt financing. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving a professional services agreement with Bryant Miller Olive, PA, to provide legal representation services to the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency as bond counsel for the origination of a loan in an amount of up to $60 million for a fee in the amount of $50,000 and providing an effective date. Agenda item 2.
Thank you. Public hearing is open on item 2. Seeing none coming, public hearing is closed.
I'll move for approval. I have a question.
So, go ahead.
No, I have a quick question. So that $50,000 is just basically a base fee?
It is a flat fee. So rather than being paid hourly, it is a flat fee that has already been pre-negotiated for the services of legal services associated with this debt.
Yeah, my question is that when I look at Exhibit A, so I have a table in here. So for that table,
So, Mr. Board Member, the table was included, but we negotiated a flat fee. I think if you go past the table, there's an exhibit that says the fee is $50,000, or it says it at the top. Let me take a look.
so it's a flat.
It is a
definitely
flat fee of $50,000, which I negotiated with Brian Miller Olive.
All right, thank you.
Okay, may I, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is, once we pass this, what's the timeline on how quick we we go through?
Once the professional services agreement is executed, then they stand ready to begin work immediately, the legal portion of the work. So they will begin, coordinating with the financial services team, with staff, with our purchasing department to make sure that we are in compliance with what we need to be doing and doing the legal work that needs to be done. Of course, they will also be working with Mr. Zelkowitz.
How long is the scope of service for?
Until the loan is closed. So
What is the estimated time?
I think we're looking at sometime in the late first quarter, early second quarter to close the loan. The RFP is being completed as we speak with the procurement department. It'll be released, I think it's for 30 days. Then there'll be a selection committee, and then once that's done and the lender is selected, it'll probably be a fairly quick process to close.
Okay, and the RFPs will be released in 30 days? Is that, did I
No,
hear that?
we are hoping to release it by January, no later than January. It will
Okay.
be open for 30 days.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. All righty.
Any other questions? May I hear a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
I have a motion made by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin to approve the agenda item 2. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Item 3.
Agenda item 3, resolution to approve contract with Florida Strategic Partnership. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the executive director and North Miami CRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with Florida Strategic Partners, LLC, to provide professional services for TIF projections and budgeting, redevelopment project analysis, and funding opportunities for a 1-year period for an amount not to exceed $150,000. Authorizing the executive director to execute the agreement with Florida Strategic Partners, LLC, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreements and providing for an effective date. Agenda item 3.
Thank you. Are they here?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. Yes, go ahead. Well, let's open it. You have any presentation or, Annabelle? Any presentation? No?
I do have my memo. Before we
Okay.
proceed, I do want to say that this is going to be an approval of a proposed bid waiver pursuant to the City of North Miami's Code of Ordinances, Section 7-120, subsection B, which requires a 4/5 vote. So if board is approving, it would need to be approved by a 4/5 vote
So,
tonight.
and the approval is because we skip going into
a bid.
procurement. And why, if I may ask, I'm just asking publicly why.
As you know, we've not had our economic development services provider for some time, and to get us back on track with those services, we felt that this was going to be the most expedient way to be able to move forward. We do know this firm, and they have a great reputation. Both individuals who are part of the firm have a great reputation. They are known to the CRA, and we felt that this was going to be the best course of action for the North Miami CRA.
And one of their other clients, any other city nearby, that's their clients?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you, Chair and Board. So
We have several clients. My name's
name
Adam
and
Old. I'm one of the partners of Florida Strategic Partners. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. One of, or a couple of our clients that you'll be familiar with is your next door neighbor, North Miami Beach.
Yes, I
We're
heard.
providing services for them and their CRA. We're also providing services for the city of Opa-locka currently. We started those this year each.
Okay, is this Mr. Walker's thing?
Correct,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Mr. Walker is
Oh,
actually,
hey, oh.
back here. He's hiding.
Okay, thank you. We good, okay. Any other questions, Councilman, Charles?
Move for approval?
Second.
Hold on.
Public
mind the Vice
hearing?
Mayor. Yes, public hearing is open on the item. I thought Savannah was coming. Public hearing is closed on the item. Vice Mayor moved it.
I second it.
I have a motion made by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin to approve Agenda Item 3. The motion was seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Item 4.
Agenda Item 4, approval of commercial grant request, 652 Northeast 128th Street, LLC.
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board approve the rehabilitation grant request from 652 Northeast 128th Street for $100,000. 652 Northeast 128th Street LLC is a dynamic real estate development company with a mission to revitalize communities by acquiring and transforming neglected buildings. Their goal is to contribute to the overall improvement of the area. The applicant is requesting a commercial rehabilitation grant of $100,000 to support the revitalization project, which aims to transform a neglected building into a functional and vibrant space. The grant will be used to fund new storefronts, modernize its exterior, and update the lighting. Staff recommends approval of $100,000.
Thank you. Public hearing is open on tab 4. Public hearing is closed.
Move for approval?
Second.
I have a motion made by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin to approve Agenda Item 4. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. Item 5.
Agenda Item 5, approval of commercial grant request, Lager House.
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board approve the business attraction grant request from Lager House for $150,000. Lager House is a brew pub that seeks to transform a 1926 built structure into a vibrant community hub. The applicant is a Miami native and resident of North Miami and has been involved in the beer making industry since 2014 and is excited to contribute to the cultural and economic growth of the community. Lager House, a self-funded venture, seeks a grant assistance to upgrade the building, including essential improvements such as new floors, plumbing, and electrical system. The envisioned establishment will offer craft beers, local and international guest beers, catered food, providing a safe space and creative space for community members to relax, enjoy local music, and support artists and sports. Lager House aims to become a cornerstone of North Miami. The marketing strategy aims to attract diverse customers interested in supporting local musicians, caters to various tastes, ensuring inclusivity, and providing something for everybody. Staff recommends approval of $150,000.
Okay, thank you. Public hearing is open. Is the applicant here? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. No, you don't need to come. We just wanted to make sure you're here. Thank you. Public hearing is closed. Unless you want to say something, you're more than happy to, but you don't have to. Okay, thank you. Public hearing is closed on the item. Can we move?
If I can quickly
Sure,
say
absolutely.
something.
Go ahead.
Mr. Space in the back and the young lady that you see over there, we go back a long way. Mr. Space used to work at Miami Central Senior High in the science department. And then the last Friday that we had a get together at the house when this girl was about to be born. And then it was like so moving today just to see how time flies.
Yeah.
She's already 8 and everything.
Oh, my God.
And I know definitely Mr. Space will be able to give us some very, very nice outdoor event, including make the building looks good, because that's basically what he's been doing for the longest since I know him, for many, many years. So nice to see you again.
And welcome to North Miami District 2.
But
He
he's
lives
a-
in District
but he's-
4,
he's a-
District 3.
No, he's a resident of District 3.
District 3, yeah.
So thank you for bringing economic development to North
bringing
He's in
money
Miami.
District 3.
I'm from District 1 and I drink beer.
That's the most
Bringing the money
important one
to
right
two.
here.
Yeah.
Bringing the money.
All right, can I hear a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Charles to approve Agenda Item 5. The motion was seconded by Board Member Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
We are becoming the beer community. I saw that, but seriously, we are in a
Especially
way.
with Bruce
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, with Brew Fest and all of these things coming.
Agenda Item 6, approval of grant guidelines for Northwest 7th Avenue Biz Boost Grant Program. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the Northwest 7th Avenue Biz Boost Grant Program guidelines and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 6.
Okay, Madam Executive Director, explain to us, and I know I asked you, the difference between this one and the current one that we do have.
Okay, so currently we do have a capacity building program. This is modeled after the county's Mom and Pop program, and this is going to be specifically designated for businesses that are on the Northwest 7th Avenue Business Corridor. As you know, we do have a dedicated source of funding for those businesses, and so we're using those funds to be able to do the grant program there. The difference that we have here is under this program, a few uses that will be able to be addressed are commercial liability insurance and acquisition of professional services. Additionally, if
You
they,
mean acquisition, what? Yeah.
if they were to want to retain a CPA or an attorney
okay.
to do things for their business, they can be able to use
Professional
professional
services.
services, correct.
Okay.
Additionally, if they are not in compliance with city ordinances, they could use some of the grant funding to get into compliance, for instance, getting their business tax receipts. If there are certain violations that are on the business, they may, with approval from staff, be able to use it. Depends on the violation. Every violation may not be eligible, but some of the more basic ones, just to get them into compliance, will be something that we can achieve for the businesses through this program.
Yes, and I totally support it. You know, I know that we had this in the other one, and I know some of the stuff that you mentioned. After COVID, we were able to help businesses with BTR, all of these different issues under that program. So that it's very, very good. Is marketing part of it? Because I know that's one of the stuff that they
Yes,
wanted
they're
to-
able to
which is
do,
good.
they can get business equipment, they can do marketing, they can get security systems, they can get inventory, you know, but the difference is those are all things they can do under our current guidelines. The differences are the ones I had highlighted first.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
And when will this grant go live?
We're hoping it'll be approved tonight, and therefore staff will then work on the application, hopefully to release them in the new year.
I just want to say thank you to staff for pushing this item in here, because that's one that we talked about at our last town hall meeting, and they were so exciting. Business owners were there; they were so excited about it, and could not wait for this to go out there and give them the help that they need in this crucial time. So, just want to say thank you.
Okay, a motion?
So move.
Second.
Was public hearing opened?
No. The public hearing is open. Seeing none coming, public hearing is closed.
I have a motion made by Board Member Charles to approve Agenda Item 6. The motion was seconded by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Item 7.
Agenda Item 7. Resolution to approve rescission of North Miami CRA Resolution Number 2023-031. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency rescinding the resolution number 2023-031 regarding the approval of the First Amendment to Infrastructure Grant Agreement between the North Miami CRA and TRNM Holdings LLC, and the First Amendment to Tax Increment Recapture Incentive Agreement between the North Miami CRA and TR&M Holdings LLC and providing an effective date. Agenda item 7.
Thank you. Presentation, or we ready?
Mr. Chairman, the Executive Director has asked me to explain this item and in coordination with the item that comes after it. As you all may recall, at the last CRA Board meeting, we had an item on the agenda to approve these two First Amendment documents. There was some discussion. The Board approved them with a condition, and that condition was that for the second year of the extension that's provided for in the amendments, that the developer would need to come back to this board for approval of that second year extension. Since the approval by the board at the last meeting, the developer has not executed the amendments. The developer has taken issue with the condition. The developer has asked that the board reconsider their decision, excuse me, sir, from the last meeting.
Okay.
And in order to do that under Robert's rules, the first step, if the board wants to reconsider its decision, would be to rescind the prior resolution. If the board does not want to reconsider its decision from the prior meeting, then you would vote no to rescind the prior resolution.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Vice
thank you. Madam Emmanuel, did I or did I not on December the 4th call you and ask that this item be placed on the next agenda, tonight's agenda for reconsideration?
You did?
Mr. Zelkowitz, did I not call you on that same day in attempt to, well, you don't know why I was calling you. This was not placed on tonight's agenda at the request of the developer. This was placed on tonight's agenda at my request as a voting member of this commission who was in the winning side of the vote 2-3 weeks ago. New information came to me. I asked that it be put on the agenda.
The request didn't come to me, but a request did come from the attorney for the developer to put this on the agenda. Ultimately,
Do you normally take requests from developers?
No, that's
or
why
outside parties?
eventually it had to come through someone on the board.
So it came
and it came through
me.
you.
Right. So presentations that you've made just now and last night at the CRA Advisory Committee that it was the developer who did, those were inaccurate presentations. I was the one who called Ms. Emmanuel on December the 4th and asked that it be put on the agenda. So if we're going to start from the get-go with facts, I am the one who asked that this be put on the agenda for reconsideration.
Okay, well, you may have asked the executive director. You did not ask me to request.
Did you ask me?
No, I did not ask you, sir.
So you've now made representations to this body and to last night's body, the advisory committee, that it was the developer who made the request when you hadn't even asked me why I had made the request. I made the request. You may see that as not a material reason to, I'll wait while you sign that document.
It's,
Sure, it's okay. No. We're having a very serious
two of them.
conversation right now. I made the request. I do not want you to say that it was the developer. I do not want you to say that it was made for any other reason than me making the request, as I believe Ms. Emmanuel will now again agree that this whole process started by me calling you on December 4th and asking you to put this on the agenda for reconsideration.
You made the request to me, yes.
Thank you. So with this item and with the presentation, public hearing is open on the item. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed.
So here's why I made the request. Not conjecture, Mr. Zelkowitz. Had you called me and asked me, Had you made more than one attempt to return a phone call, here is why I asked that this be put on the agenda. It came to my attention that there is a Florida statute, and I'm sure I have the numbers here somewhere, I could quote 8675309, that Florida statutes allow for a tolling of development agreements for 24 months whenever there's a state of emergency. There are open states of emergency for a couple of hurricanes, Ian, I think Nicole, that would fall under that category. You may disagree. This is why we're here tonight, to discuss it. But because that information was brought to my attention, I thought it was worthwhile to bring this item back for discussion and deliberation. Again, it wasn't the developer who initiated this. It was me. I can't tell you how superiorly disappointed I am to have rewatched last night's board meeting and now hear your presentation tonight as you say that it's the developer that asked it. It's me. It's me. So, because I believed that this warranted discussion, I asked that it be put on tonight's agenda. As such, the Florida statute says that there could be a tolling, a continuation for 24 months. You're shaking your head, Mr. Zuckowitz.
I am shaking my head, sir.
Okay.
Well, if you would ask me for a legal opinion, I'll be happy.
I'm not going to ask you for a legal opinion because you
Okay.
didn't ask me for my opinion as to why I put that. Can't tell you, Steve. You've been with this CRA for 15 years. I've been 18 years. I'm sorry. I've been on this city commission since its beginning. So if we're going to throw years out there to see who trumps who, I get it. You could have called me. You told the CRA committee last night that it was the developer that put it on there when it was me. I'm still on this city council. I deserve being talked to like I'm still on the city council. I was simply going to ask the city council tonight to reconsider and overturn our first vote and then allow an extension of 6 months for the developer to get all of their ducks in a row from financing standpoint so that we can continue. And that's where I was coming from. So, fellow council members, I'd love for us to simply reconsider, allow an additional 6 months for the developer to be able to get everything lined up, and let's just move forward to have a development in my district, by the way, I remind everybody, that I think will be incredibly beneficial to the district and to the city and to the residents who are looking for housing.
Is it open for questions now? So I'll start
Yes.
since I know I was the one who made the motion during the last CRA for that item. So is it the request for an additional, there's already a 1-year extension plus another 6 months? Is that what the request is? I'm not sure. And then I know too, you know, there's the issue of a Florida state statute that we weren't briefed about, that we weren't made aware about. So that should have came up in briefing if that was the case. Mr. Tate and his team, you know, you could have reached out to me if you needed to meet to discuss that state statute.
Right,
Let me
but
finish.
it's not them, it's
I
me.
know, I know,
It's me.
I hear
Let's
you.
not put it on them.
I know,
It's
I hear
me.
you,
I'm
but
the
if
one.
there's a state statute, it should have came from staff, not from a council member at the
Right.
meeting today. This is not the time to bring out state statutes if we do not know what that state statute is and what implications it may cause, if there is any implications. So that's what I'm stating. So to say that because of a state statute and no one knows what the state statute is, for me, I'm not comfortable moving forward with that. And two, I would like for you to provide that legal opinion, Mr. CRA attorney. You've been on the CRA for 18 years, so if you could give us that legal opinion, please do so.
So there is a state statute that allows for an extension and tolling of dates in development orders, permits, and development agreements that are authorized by Florida statutes that relate to emergency orders that have been enacted by the governor. There are a number of emergency orders that have been acted by the governor with respect to various hurricanes that have occurred in the state of Florida over the last couple of years. The CRA does not issue development orders. The CRA does not issue permits. The CRA does not enter into development agreements under Florida statutes. This issue has come up with me in front of other CRAs in the past. These are simply funding agreements to give the developer money. So the statute that allows for the development agreement that perhaps your city may have entered into with the developer to extend its dates or its building permits or its site plan approvals doesn't apply to the CRA. That's my legal opinion. The developer's attorney, who is here tonight, sent a letter to my office, an extension letter, a notice of extension. I responded, told him it doesn't apply, and rejected it. So I appreciate the discussion of bringing up a statute, but in my opinion, the statute doesn't apply to the North Miami CRA and to these agreements.
Can we?
Thank you.
Thank you. You done? Any other question, Vice Mayor? Can we hear who's the attorney? Where did this come from, sir? If you may, please.
Mr. Chair, if you
Yes.
mind me asking, I don't think it's prudent that we're asking and.
No, I'm asking. I am asking. I'm asking.
But you
I
can,
know.
I know
Oh,
you're
okay.
the chair and you can do what you want, but I'm going to state it on the record.
Okay.
I don't think it's prudent that we're asking another council that has not
Oh,
been
that- I
employed.
got you.
Let me finish my statement, please. Let's
Okay,
be
go ahead.
respectful. I'm always respectful of you, Mr. Chair.
Likewise
that have-
here.
Okay, thank you. So I don't think it's prudent, and I don't think it puts us in a safe space as a body, that we're asking another attorney that does not practice CRA with us for an opinion. And I think we're putting ourselves at risk, if that's what you intend on doing. I just want to
Yes,
state
it is. But let me ask you this question, though. Hold on, Councilman Galvin. Would it be prudent for us to get an advice that if I, as a voting person, does not trust the advice, so what would you advise me to do at that point?
Well, if you don't trust the advice, then you know what to
'Cause
do as
there's
an
a
elected
lot-
official.
well, that's
If you
what I'm
don't
saying.
trust,
I'm
that's
trying-
on
I'm
you.
I'm
But
trying to
I,
not walk down that road
Right.
right now, y'all.
But-
I'm trying not to do anything rash, though in my heart and in my strong will, I want to take an incredibly significant step right now. Here's my problem, a councilwoman, I totally get where you're coming from. We're getting advice from counsel of our own tonight, who, in my opinion, jeopardized the credibility of their opinion by not even speaking to me about why this was put on the agenda. He made an incredibly strong statement to the advisory committee last night, and then again to us tonight, that it was the developer who asked this to be on our agenda. It was me. And because of the fact that I feel he has misrepresented the scenario, I'm also concerned about the legal opinion that he's giving us in this instance tonight.
if I
Thank you.
may,
Mr. Attorney, please. Sure. Yes, you. Thank you. I've heard of the statute mentioned. I think I had a conversation with Mr. Tate last week. I don't know anything about it. I did not get briefed by the attorney. I just heard his thing of this statute. Which Florida statute and what is this, the Florida statute? And I'm just asking this for my own opinion.
So, a couple of things. I'm Robert Chang from Shuzhenbo, and I would represent the Tate Rock Group on the transactional side. I don't know the statute by number. I am not a land use attorney, but my partner, David Coviello, who is the land use partner in my firm, is the author of the letter that was sent to Mr. Zelkowitz. I think, and Mr. Zelkowitz indicated he sent a reply to us, and we did receive a reply yesterday stating that he differed from our interpretation of the statute and that it did not apply. we're not aware of any case law that is definitive, and we have differing opinions about the applicability of that statute to the agreements with the CRA that the Tate Rock Group have.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Any other questions from members here? Councilman, Vice Chair, any other questions?
I'd make a motion that we approve item number 7, which would rescind our vote from last meeting so that we can consider another item under tab 8.
And that's concurrent with the next item, or is it separate, Mr. Attorney? Is the next item separate from that? Or
Yes, there's 2 items. As I
Okay.
explained earlier, there's the first item. In order to consider the next item, you would have to rescind
The first, okay,
the resolution from last time.
okay, I second that motion.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve Agenda Item 7. The motion was seconded by Chairman Desilmay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
The motion fails with a 2-3 vote.
Awesome. So is the next item void?
The next item is moot because you have not rescinded the resolution from the
That's
last.
what I'm asking. So we
meeting.
are up to which item now? I'm confused.
So Agenda Item 8 is moot.
Yes, so I think it's 9?
5.
I think we back to, yeah, you're up to discussions.
Discussion Item 1, Property Disposals and Potential NSP Property Transfer from City of North Miami.
Good evening. This item is being placed on for discussion only to get direction from the board so that it can come back at a later time to be presented for action. So as your body already knows, there are 3 properties that are owned by the CRA that is included in the packet that have already gone out for disposal pursuant to 163's notice and the North Miami CRA's properties disposal policy. These properties are still in the possession of the CRA, and we are seeking more guidance on how we would like to continue to try to dispose of the properties. We also do need to revise the guidelines because the guidelines that we currently have are date specific, so clearly those dates have passed, so those need to be renewed. Additionally, the evaluation process is somewhat cumbersome. In a nutshell, the way that once the potential proposers go ahead and reply to the 163 notice, staff will do an initial evaluation to make sure they're complying with what the guidelines, making sure that they have all of the documents submitted, things of that nature. They're not looking at content at that portion. Everything is now set before the board. The board will rank responses, and then they send it back, the ranking, to the executive director to approve the ranking and to send back to you to approve your ranking again. So there's a bit of a volleying going back and forth that may not be necessary. However, what we are trying to get from staff, from the board, is guidance on whether or not these are properties that should still be prioritized for disposal, or if there's another action that would like to be taken. These are properties that we do have to maintain. One property in particular has been the subject to many trespass attempts by the public, so we've had to secure that property. So while we continue to have these on our books, we do need to we need direction on how to move forward.
If I may, Madam Executive Director, when I heard of this particular item, because now we're playing politics, I honestly do not know why this item is up here when several executive directors were already giving direction, and I've spoken to you. We all know who's supposed to get those properties. Everybody up here. There's been politics playing, and I've explained to you.
I don't know, I'm sorry.
And yeah, you do.
No.
I explained to you what had happened, and I will continue to do that. I am totally against any properties coming to the CRA because I see the games that's being played. So let me enlighten you, Councilwoman, since
I'm not sure.
you may not recall this incident. 5 years ago, well, 6 years ago it started. I had one resident who came here, Miss Gusman. She sat back here, and she came up to the council meeting. I understand,
I
Madam.
was a PIO, so I
Yes,
don't know
she
what
was
you're
not
talking about.
up here yet. This is how far it goes back. And that resident came, that property 975, I'm sorry, 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue. She came, her son was with her, she's a nurse, she worked here, and she lived here in North Miami, and she came to talk to us about that particular property. She came to me, and I was a councilman back then. I did not know the procedure. I went and I asked her,
She
I went
owned it, or
to-
she was acquiring about?
no, she was, we owned it. She
Oh,
was
the city
acquiring, she was saying, how do we obtain that property? This was a city property. So I said, I don't know about the process. I talked to the manager back then, Mr. Spring, and then we told her, let's ask Marie, who was in housing at that time. So we have the original email, so we asked Marie. So in our discussion with city administration and the CRA, we deemed that it was more necessary if the CRA has it, because it would have been quicker for that, for the residents to obtain the property. In that same time, 927 Northwest 132nd Street came up. And during those discussions, so they, it was like we needed to amend the rules and do whatever that needed to be done with in order for us to give those two residents, North Miami residents, those properties. And they said to us, they don't need no money from us. They just wanted to know what's the sale price and everything. In the process of that first conversation, up until then, several things were going on with our CRA, not with the people, but with our CRA. As a result of this, the property ended up being transferred from the city to the CRA.
I was there for that.
Yes, when that happened, all of a sudden, and now I think it's going on three years within the first time it was asked. And then from that particular moment, rules started coming up. They wanted to change the rules of how we do things, this particular body, which they did. And I said to them, I don't mind us changing the rules, but I feel like it was very politically motivated, and people had other reasons that they wanted those two different properties to be disposed. When we had residents who had housing needs to do that, then we waited, and then we exchanged executive directors. Every time one of them came, the residents will come up and ask, what's going on? And it still keep going. So now it's 5 or 6 years later, which after we had already approved a year or two on how we were going to dispose the property, which it could have been your discretion. It would not be coming back to us. That was the first thing that we did, which the executive director did do that. They put in the application. We had put it out for people, whoever wanted it to do that. They all did that process, and 6 years later, or 5 years later, we're back to this.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I can
Mm-hmm.
understand clearly, so was your intention to give the property to the residents who initiated?
To sell it to
To
them.
sell it to that specific resident?
Yes.
So at that time, you could have sponsored an item on the CRA or the city just to give it to a resident?
No, we couldn't
would-
do it at that time. It was from the city, and we had determined.
I remember it was, the
yeah.
city owned the land and it was conveyed to the CRA.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm asking these questions, because I remember when Ms. Rasha Camo was the executive director and we tried to dispose these properties, it was kind of stated that, hey, we have to put it out, we have to notice it in the
We
paper.
did, yes, all
and
of
then-
that. Yes,
Yeah,
that's correct.
and then a couple, I think, folks had to inquire about it. Like,
They
I
did it
even put it
twice.
out and said, hey, the city has homes because we know affordable housing is a need, and it's, it's something that, so many residents are, at the door or trying to figure out how to purchase
Yes.
a home. Like, you can't find a home under $500,000 in North Miami right now. So to know that the city has, 3 properties and can put it out, I think at the time, Rasha said, I said, well, how much would the CRA put them out for? And she said, anywhere between 100 and 200,000, you just want to kind of get rid of them. Because I asked, well, do we want to rehab them and then sell them to residents? Or do we just want to put them out for bid and anyone can apply for these homes? And it was stated that, you know, put it out and anyone could apply. So I
Yes.
think any North Miami,
well,
there was a
it's
criteria.
actually anyone, actually.
Was anyone that
anyone.
Yeah, it's.
Wasn't
we-
there a preference,
that-
though?
that was
That's
the
what it
thing.
There's an
Um,
evaluation criteria.
Which they all did, and they
Which
all met
they,
that.
we put 25, you know, they get 25 points if they're a North Miami resident, 15 if
Right.
they're a North Miami employee. So technically, anyone could have had applied for these properties. For me, it was just a matter of like, well, what is the, you know, of course, you were the district representative at that time, and I know you said you've been working on this for years, but at some point, you know, this is going to become a liability for the CRA who has to upkeep it, squatters, you know.
Yeah, we
things are
wanted,
happening.
no, yeah.
So
My-
what's the
my
goal
thing is
moving
from
forward?
everyone, I think to be fair, in politics, sometimes we like to, and then change. Those two properties should have never even been the subject, because it's been 5 years that people have been asking and asking. So what are we doing? It's us, we had it on here to give out, in this council, I believe voted against.
No, we never
Not this
voted.
council, this
Yeah,
council.
I-
this-
No, 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 we
not-
conveyed it to
I-
the.
I
Right,
believe-
right.
Yeah,
This
when we,
council
but
hasn't-
at that time, there
every
was a
time-
vote.
The only
that
thing that
came.
happened was we conveyed it from the CRA, but it
No.
never made it on the agenda.
I believe there was
to
one
release it.
discussion.
It's always tabled every time it comes up. I think there was a point, Mr. Chair, if you remember, that
let
I
the
think
district, yeah.
Councilwoman Timothy initiated some policies and
Yes.
procedures.
And that was
That
tabled.
was tabled.
That was
was-
tabled,
That was
yeah.
Didn't that
tabled.
pass?
So there's
No, it was
no.
tabled.
Yeah,
Oh.
so if I could,
No.
so we do have the real property disposal policy that has been approved. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because the policy was date specific. We have the properties, but we cannot do anything with them with a
Okay.
date specific policy. This expired August 2022.
So that
I
means you
have-
were supposed to dispose all of the properties by that day, is what
We
you're
were
saying?
supposed, that was the deadline
That
for us
was
to
the-
receive the
for-
proposals. So what I'm saying is, right now, we are in ownership of these properties. The only way we can dispose of these properties is pursuant to 163, if that's the desire of the board. I have to
to
put it out for a 163 notice. I can't just,
No, Madam.
legally,
please,
that's the only
no,
way for
legally.
me to dispose
Mr.
of it.
Attorney, you know, this is where we go back and, oh God, when we had this discussion, the city side, it was subject to certain things that we didn't, so that's how we end up sending it to you guys, and the guideline we approved, we all did it in recognition that those two properties, whatever I said during the time when this initial came up, this initial request, you know, to put some guidelines, I said, you know what, I was so upset that night. I said, I don't mind if you guys have any future things you want to do, but those two residents, I think it's only fair that we do what's right. And I believe it was three residents, because one of them within year 3 had contacted me about another one that the former executive director had talked to me about, which is not on here. But so I said to the staff at that time, whatever you guys want to do, I'm okay with it. But I think, to be fair, we had nothing. If this didn't even come up by this lady 6 years ago, nobody would even be talking about this thing. But now that we hear and I see all of these things, it's not fair and it's not right. And I'm going to be speaking out.
It's just a matter
So-
of law, however. And we could probably discuss how to transfer it back to the city. However,
No, you can
but what I'm
dispose it to them.
Under the law, under Chapter 163, even if I were to lease this out, the CRA was to lease it out, dispose of it, however, for $1, the CRA has to follow the procedures of the 163 notice.
But we did that.
What is the one?
But it
Yeah.
is
It's expired.
over. That was in 2022,
then
so that's what I'm
redo it.
saying.
Yeah, you
That
just
is
need to
why I'm
redo it.
coming here tonight for discussion, to get your will for me to do that.
So you have to pretty much, this policy that you have before us, well, the guidelines that you have before us right now states that we had to get rid of them by August 2022. Is that correct?
That was when the proposals were due. So we are
So
not
you-
accepting any proposals right now because we need a new, so I'm saying, board, would you like us to
To
refer?
just put this back?
Correct.
Okay.
So we can do that. That
Yes,
is the
please.
direction we're
And
in.
let me quickly add to
ahead,
that.
Councilman.
This is a healthy discussion, and I just want to thank the board, Madam Director, for bringing up this item, because this is a liability issue in here on the city. Not too long ago, 2 people got arrested, just with the CRA, 2 people got arrested inside one of these property, the 12505. So what we need to do is basically lay out clear guidelines on how to dispose these properties, and then to Mr. Mayor's point, so basically we just need to we know what we have in here to a later date, and then move. And yes.
So I just have one more question, because so when this goes out, technically anyone can apply or bid for this. Like, 'cause to the mayor's point, well, I'm trying to go back to what the mayor's point, when you said about the residents who, you know, initially acquired by this. When this goes out, it's made to the public. Like, there's no way that we can exempt, you know, hey, these folks from getting some type of special point system so that they get.
Well, there's an evaluation criteria that appears on page 9, and so based on, there's a total of 100 points. There are 25 points allocated if you are a City of North Miami resident. I mean, so there are different points that are allocated. So anybody who applies, the proposals that meet the criteria will then be ranked by this body, and you all will make a selection.
And so it's also asking for development concept, feasibility of financing plan, and realistic ability to complete the project. This almost sounds like, if I'm a resident, and I'm like, wait a minute, do I have to go get an architectural plan drawn up and tell you how I'm going to fix this house?
Correct. Again, that's why this is back for discussion.
Please,
Oh, okay.
may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
That you give us an opportunity to reread this.
Sure.
To come up with
Give
an
her
idea,
comments.
to edit it, and
Sure.
an opportunity for it to be presented, I guess, in our February meeting, or whenever we deem to do
Necessary.
it.
Okay.
Because, you know, if it's just, that's
Qualification
something
of
that we had
development team.
already, Mr. Mayor, you had any, whatever issues you have, you could address them at the time. And yeah, and I
When is the
I
next
would
meeting?
have,
February.
13.
So wait a minute.
so
Maybe
the
the March
development
meeting.
concept.
But let me ask you this though, in the meantime, so you saying you were putting this up to get our recommendations in terms of that. So what would be the next meeting would be 2 months from now to bring this back, or?
So again, I would have to give you an updated policy, because again, this was date specific. I did
But
mention.
can they just change the date?
I can change the date. However, what I was also mentioning is, for instance, the evaluation criteria that appears on page 8, there's a bit of a volleying. And so I just want to take a little bit of time to talk to you about what that is.
I'm gonna say this, and I understand, and I'll leave this subject like that. Y'all could do whatever y'all want to do up here, but I know one thing: these 2 properties, yeah, that's all I'm saying. So y'all do whatever y'all want to do.
So the
Hold on. It's your district now. You do whatever you want.
Wait.
The
The councilman, I know it's in your district, but when it was in my district, I didn't get the same love and respect. So I gotta say right now, going forward, I'm not gonna give out the same love and respect for other people's districts on an automatic, simply because it's in their district.
You know, Councilman, you will always get the love and respect, and with all due respect, you will get the respect. So we can.
Except I didn't get it on that last item. No, but
Listen,
honestly,
Cal-
that's something, this is gonna stick with me. This last item is gonna stick with me for a long time, because I have done nothing in the last year or more but try to boost everybody who sits around me. And what you want for your district, I try to help you do for your district. The one time I've made a specific and clear ask to move a project in my district, I haven't received the majority of votes on this body. That's not being forgotten. And you can't really expect that I'm now gonna just do for your district because you're asking, when you couldn't do for me for the same reason.
So in all fairness to you, Board Member Galvin, let me just clearly state my statement so that you understand. As you know, we're usually both very supportive of each other's district, but I didn't understand, we've made it clear the last meeting that this board has always been a board that if there is an extension needed, if there is time that needs to be allocated, we will give it. Period. We have done it, we've demonstrated that, and that was my argument back then. I don't want to set the precedence that, oh, if I don't like this and I'm going to come back and you resend it, and that's not, in my opinion, that's not a good precedence to set for anybody. Again, I love I have no issues with the project, and I've said that publicly. I'm so happy that we're addressing housing issues. Again, I said that publicly. And if at the time that there's more time that is needed to make sure that this project is successful, guess what? It's going to get my approval. But just coming in, just because I don't like it this way and I don't like the word, I don't think that's right. It's not good enough for me it didn't move me to change my mind.
So
I don't want to
let's,
argue with you, but I just wanted you to understand my
I'm not
view.
going to rehash the last item, although I've already rehashed the last item. Let's just say now, let's all agree that we're not going to say anymore, it's in my district, so let's vote this way.
No, I
Because
disagree
if
with
it's
you,
not- if it's
No,
not
we
in my
can't say that
because
as well,
because
because
if-
when
if there are
Margolis
10
came up, we were gonna go there.
Guys, hold on.
It was my district, but you guys went the other way, so we can't use that when we all have to vote on city issues to the best of our abilities, and we're
Yeah,
representing
and
our
not only
area.
that,
But if we
most of
felt
the
that it
time-
wasn't the right thing, like, you can't punish us now because we didn't
or
support
punish
you on one item as
anyone.
president.
Most of the
I'm not
time,
looking to
most,
punish, but it's hard for me when somebody says it's in my district and looks at me.
But this is
for me
technically
to
the
vote
mayor's
in
item,
their fa-
and you brought it to
Councilman-
Fraud's idea.
Councilman
So it should
Galvin,
be
if I,
directed to the mayor.
Board Member Galvin, if I may, the last thing I just want to see, and the last item that you're referring to, there is a legal aspect that we did not listen to that advice from our CRA attorney, and then when the counsel from the developer came up, make it even more murky. So I was lost. So that's yeah.
Alright.
He's he was like all over the place, and then I was not in no clear direction. And to
and
that
you
point, he said,
understood-
"Listen,
Uh-huh.
he said that this statute that we're referring to is only applied when we have an emergency, and that emergency has to be declared by the governor." So that was like that was a point, you know, just
I'm
to.
not looking to rehash the
So
last
no,
item
that-
here,
no,
but
that's
it's
right,
just
but-
not fair for everybody to do what we've done for the last year and change, or probably more. When there's something in your own district, to look at me and say, hey, it's in my district. And the ask is that I vote in favor because it's in your district, and that's all I've done. I've done nothing but try to support all of you. I've said 100 times on this dais, your victories are the city's victories. I'm here as the elder statesman on my way out the door to try to boost you and help you because it's for the good of the city. And the one time I asked for a little allocation in my direction, I didn't get it. And so just, let's just agree not to say it's in my district, so let's vote for it.
No, I think we good. I think we had enough for one day.
No, because I still have
There's a
council
report.
reports
Oh, you
coming.
got-
I
oh,
still have
gosh.
my reports coming.
Okay,
We're not done
so-
tonight.
Oh, okay.
No, I know
So-
with this.
With
this
CRA. So
item,
you got your
yes.
direction, Madam
CRA attorney
Yes,
report.
staff will prepare updated policies and come back.
This is a discussion. Oh,
Right, right. That's
discussion
what
item.
Yes, this is discussion.
okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr.
No, I
CRA.
have no reports, sir.
Oh, okay. Madam Executive Director?
The only report is that the CRA, well, two reports. CRA Residential Rehabilitation Program is opening. Is open. We are accepting applications. Applications deadline is this Friday, December 15th. So please encourage residents to apply.
Is the
Staff-
residential?
This is the residential rehabilitation program. Staff has been working with those who are coming in to make sure that the applications are in order, getting their documents together. So we do stand ready to assist. Just tell them to show up, call, whatever it is. We are here to help. Additionally, the CRA offices will be closed December 22nd till January 2nd.
Okay.
Is that normal, that long?
We did that.
It's last week, so I have decided. No, it's the week of Christmas. So the 22nd is that.
I'm being the Grinch tonight. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Annabelle. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Oh, yeah, and happy belated birthday, Annabelle. It was your birthday. Happy birthday.
That was
And
a while back,
yeah,
but
I
thank you
know.
very much.
And the mayor's birthday,
Yeah,
and Vanessa's
I'll take
birthday.
it.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Thank you. Any other report? Wait, let me ask you a question. The vice chair just brought something to my attention. So with the CRA, public comments is always last.
Or is that-
That's the way it's always appeared
I
on the
know.
agenda. Yes.
Probably needs to change that because I'm
It's
like,
probably
okay.
like the
We should do like the
Yeah,
county.
it's just comment.
equivalent of open forum, or what do we
Okay.
call it in the
Right,
council?
right.
Yeah.
Citizens
Then
forum.
it's
Yeah.
wrong then. Where we have it, it's like the last one, like once we're done ready to go, it's there. So, but nobody has ever come up except Mike, so Mike is always there, right?
Speaking of Mike, Mr. Chairman, if I might make a report,
Yes.
point of privilege. Mr. McDermott, you're the chairman of the CRA Advisory Committee. Since you're in the room tonight, I'd like to ask your personal privilege to, if you're willing and the chair is willing, ask you to come forward and answer a couple of questions
Sure.
about last night's meeting.
If Mike wanna come up, yeah. Mike, I'm sorry, I didn't put you on the spot to come up, I just put that Mike.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott. Last night, the CRA Advisory Committee had a long discussion on the item of the extension of the Allure property. Did the CRA staff at any point allude to the fact that it was me who asked that this item be put on the agenda this evening?
No.
Was my name mentioned at all during the proceedings?
Not that I recall.
Was it made apparent or represented by our staff that it was the developer who had asked that this item be put on the agenda?
I think that's correct.
Okay. You've been the CRA chairperson for a little bit of time, the CRA advisory person. When Mr. Shiver, our previous CRA director, was here, did you have any meetings with he and Mr. Tate on the Allure proceedings or the Allure property?
I believe we had one meeting, I think, yes.
You had one meeting, was it at Cafe Creme?
Yes, it was prior to our board meeting. No, it was right after our board meeting. I'm
And it
sorry.
was only one meeting, there was not more than one meeting that you had with?
I believe it was one meeting, yeah.
Okay. Did Mr. Shiver, to the best of your recollection, try to renegotiate our agreement with Mr. Tate because the CRA and Mr. Shiver's opinion didn't have the money to be able to carry forth the Allure agreement that we already had?
Yeah, I think that's accurate, yeah. That the CRA didn't have sufficient funds at that time.
Okay. So at that time, Mr. Shiver seemed to indicate that the CRA didn't have the money to complete the Allure project, so he asked Mr. Tate to put off moving forward on the project.
To my recollection, yeah, that was the gist of the conversation, yes.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott. I don't have anything else for you. I appreciate your accommodation tonight.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Awesome. Are we done?
The last thing, you have been provided your staff report, the monthly staff report for November. So that is for your review.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays to everyone, and enjoy, be safe.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Second.
I have a motion made by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin to adjourn, seconded by the chairman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. It is now 6:30.